Moving on to story number 3 for this morning. Trump administration confirms that ICE actually arrested Mahmoud Khalil without a warrant, which should be a bad thing, but apparently to them it's not, because it's been brought to light that the administration actually had some actual actions concerns for what they did for the immigration enrollment enforcement involving Columbia University student Mahmoud Khalil specifically, and also Maryland resident Kilmar Abrigo Garcia. We've talked about him many times because now everyone's going down to El Salvador to see him and try to get involved in that one. Let's start with Khalil. The arrest of the Palestinian activist and legal U.S. permanent resident, arrested on March the 8th for essentially protesting. That's what happened. But he was arrested without a warrant. Government attorneys later acknowledged this in court filings, citing concerns that Khalil might flee as justification for the warrantless arrest. However, Khalil's legal team disputes the claim, arguing that he was cooperative during the whole arrest and the government's actions were politically motivated due to the pro-Palestinian activities. Khalil has been detained in Louisiana and is facing potential deportation despite not actually being charged with a crime, which is hard to do when you don't have a warrant. Moving on to Senator Van Hollen and his meeting with Kilmar Abrigo Garcia. Again, the not-so-chance meeting, the setup meeting, the whole show of shows with Senator Chris Van Hollen, Maryland, and his constituent, I'll say it in air quotes, the El Salvadorian migrant, Kilmar Abrigo Garcia, who is a resident of Maryland and has, the states, the paperwork to stay there, and has orders to not be deported on asylum claims, and if he can be deported, not to El Salvador, exactly what they sent him. That turned into a thing. Now we're finding out a lot of things about what's going on. He's been moved from the very notorious gang prison to a less notorious prison, so he's being treated better, we guess. But the whole situation there. They're also finding out that many folks have been denied access to Garcia, and many of the folks that they've taken down to where they are, and that's why there was the meeting in the hotel that was set up, complete setup in San Salvador, but set up by the El Salvadorian authorities to make some photo ops that made them look a little bit suspicious. At this point, many other senators, many other politicians, Democrats, are going down there to basically rattle some cages and get some airtime on this one. Let's do their bits to get in there. These cases actually underscore the nature of the administration's immigration policies and how there's not an issue with deportations, because Bush, Obama, Biden, they deported about millions of folks. Maybe not quite as fast as here, but Trump not quite getting it done right, because literally he's screwing up the paperwork.